Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. And also, I would like to express my gratitude to have had the invitation and opportunity to come here and speak to you today. As you can see from the slides, I'm representing EFCA, and it is stated at the upper right corner that EFCA is representing FIDIC in Europe. So just a few words about the organization of the profession that we are representing. Of course, the idea behind this is that OICE should be the national association taking care of all the national circumstances, commercial circumstances of the profession. And then EFCA is the regional federation of consulting engineers for Europe. And then thereby representing FIDIC in Europe and being then a part of FIDIC, which is then the overall global organization gathering all the professionals within our industry in the whole world. So it's in that respect I'm speaking today for the region Europe. And as you realize, I've been asked to speak about the constraints, so being a bit negative, of course, in its course and case. I would state that, as a beginning of my speech here, that engineering certainly can be an engine for growth. We have limited resources as a society, and therefore we need to be able to take the right priorities. Engineering in a broad sense, technical and financial engineering, can then be the key to the right priorities and the related sound political decisions, so thereby being the engine for growth. But if we look into the realities of our profession, we realize that engineering and technology is of crucial and critical importance to the operation and development of modern societies and communities. But the importance and influence of the work done by engineers is not well known or understood by politicians or by the public. So to gain influence or even take the lead in the development, we as engineers must reveal the secret and find a stronger influence and standing in society, which has, of course, also been mentioned by many other speakers today. So, speaking about constraints or threats for our profession, we realize that we are often small enterprises and our profession is scattered and not speaking with one voice. This leads to lack of influence on the development and on the commercial conditions of the society we are part of. So how do we gain influence? What do we want to influence, and whom do we wish to influence? So I would just like to draw your attention to this, the building of influence. As the base, we must not be a stranger. We have to be known or acknowledged. Upon that, we have to be a good, innovative citizen and an example for others. Then, by fulfilling this, we can gain influence and trust. and without fulfilling it, no influence, no trust. So the strong chain of gaining influence is actually built by this: first, acknowledgement, realizing the importance, being an inspiration, being creative, being leading, being a role model, innovation, development, professionalism, showing the outcome of what we are doing and optimizing the investments. Being a trendsetter, being a global model, show how to do, remember the human touch, and remember not least the sustainability. There must be a world also for our children. And then, as many have pointed at today, to tell others what to do, we have to be in our own market in the lead. We have to work according to the best value, which I will deepen in the next slides. We have to work for fair contracts, transparency, and collaboration. This is a strong chain of gaining influence. So fulfilling this will absolutely lead to that somebody will listen to what we are saying. So still thinking about procurement, which is, as I understand, a great problem here in Italy. Being the market in lead, we have to work, as I mentioned, toward the best value or the most economical, advantageous tender, which is called. We have to work for fair contracts for all participants, and I'll remind you of the presentation that we saw from FIDIC about the FIDIC contracts that are used all over the world. We have to work towards transparency, openness, clarity, and we have to show collaboration, not fighting each other all the time, and always see that somebody will come and deliver a rebate which is greater than the previous. So, kind of tending to conclude what I'm saying here, I would start at the bottom of this slide with this quotation from Canada, which is mentioned here: the quality of the thinking and expertise of the consulting engineer exercises the greatest possible influence on the success of the project outcome. Taking into account all consulting services amount to a small fraction of the project cost, typically between 5 to 10% of the construction cost and below 3% of the life cycle cost, as also another speaker demonstrated. Exert a highly leveraged beneficial impact on the project construction and operation cost. Therefore, consulting engineering services contracts should be awarded predominantly on quality. Taken from Canada. And I am happy to announce here, to remind you here today, that the EU directive of 2014, number 24, of the European Parliament and the Council on the coordination of procedures for the award of public works contracts, public supply contracts, and public service contracts are now based on quality selection. So, what is the constraint for you here? It is to implement this directive in the local, national legislation in the right manner, in the right way. So the EU directives have no intention to dictating the markets how to operate, but are designed to create a level playing field at EU level, so that also the Italian profession can work outside Italy. The free market is the basic for this thinking. Now that the EU legislation is in place, the equal transposition of the legislation in respect of the letter and spirit of the legislation in all the member states will prove the big challenge. The EFCA Internal Market Committee has produced guidance to bring its member associations up to speed with the challenges involved in this transposition. And of course, this could be a help for you implementing this directive in your local national legislation. The last slide just shows some of the major issues that has to be considered when implementing this directive. It's about definition of intellectual services, most economical advantageous tender, the use of the competitive procedure with negotiation, innovation partnerships, scope for practical modification of contracts, procurement capacity, duration of valid project references, allowance for clarification and additional information, and life cycle costing. So, of course, a lot of things to raise questions about, but please receive the help of your colleague professions, your colleague associations in all the other European countries through the EFCA Secretariat and by the help and support of FIDIC. This is my message. So, the society needs engineers. United we are stronger. Trust is crucial. Thank you.